Good morning. Thank you for joining us on Center Stage Nonprofits of Tucson. We have really cool opportunities on this show to highlight different nonprofits in Tucson and to hear what they're doing and how they're making an impact in our city. And I just want to remind you, if you're a listener and you're sitting here thinking, there's this really cool nonprofit that I like and I would love to have them on the show, reach out, let me know, or go connect with them and let them know you'd like to hear them on the show. You can find the show on social media at Center Stage Tucson, and then you can reach me at centerstagetucson@gmail.com or my phone number 520-373-6864. I love having new nonprofits on the show, and I've had quite a few people reaching out recently, and so that's been really cool. I love to know that you're listening and that you're liking the content that is being put out there. And today we have something a little bit different, and it's going to be really cool. But we have Native Seed Search, and we have Alexandra Zamisnik on the show today. So thank you, Alexandra, for being here.
Thank you for having me, Danielle.
And what's really cool about this is it seems kind of like a lot of people don't necessarily garden anymore. But in Tucson, there's a huge population of people who are gardening and who absolutely love it and who, they just get each other, right? Like they all have this common goal. Everyone works together. It's such a cool thing to experience. And a lot of what I experienced and a lot of seeing some of the uniqueness, I feel like Native Seed Search was very much at the center or around everything happening. So I'm excited to hear what you have to share with us. But can you tell us just a little bit about who you are, what you do, and kind of how Native Seed Search started?
Sure. I'm the executive director. I have a background in international relations, actually, and conservation. And I've been with Native Seed Search for more than 3 years. We are a seed conservation organization, and we have a seed bank where we manage, where we steward more than 1,800 different collections of seeds. So our mission is focused on ensuring that these seeds are here for us in the future, for future generations, and that our seed bank is accessible today. For gardeners of today. And we are also dedicated to ensuring that these seeds are available and and that the communities that have historical and cultural ties to these seeds are able to access them. So unlike other seed banks where they are tucked away for a future rainy day, we really view our seed bank as being accessible and promoting gardening, especially desert farming and gardening. The organization has been around. This year we're 41, so we turned 40 last year, and we like to think that we have been able to influence the history of agriculture here and farming. It is an area that has a very rich agricultural history, and that's because of the communities, the indigenous communities of this area that stewarded these seeds and developed the agriculture, the traditions that exist today here. So we view that we're just continuing that long history. And have been making these seeds available for 40 years, in addition to other seed savers and farmers.
I think something that is so unique about that is, personally, I didn't really do any gardening. I had tried before and everything just died. And I kind of got discouraged. And when I moved back to Tucson, I was like, I really want to garden. It makes me feel good to have things that are growing and they're blooming, and to have fresh produce is really, amazing. And so it was something that I decided, okay, I'm going to try it again. And, when you first get into gardening and you don't really know what you're doing, if you just go buy all of these random things that you want to grow and you think, oh, it would be really cool if I had this, but you don't check if it actually grows here, you end up with everything not surviving or not producing well. And, it can be a very discouraging process. And so, not doing that, instead of just going and picking any random thing that you find from any random place, instead of doing that, you go somewhere where the seeds are local. They're things that grow here. They have for a very long time. You learn how to take care of those specific plants, and you do what everyone has done, for many, many years. You see the successes of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's a completely different experience. You get to enjoy what you've done. You get to enjoy having the plants and seeing the beauty of them, and enjoy the produce if if they're producing plants. But just having that opportunity, I think, is so cool. And 1,800 seeds, you said?
Yes, it's 1,800 different varieties. We call them accessions, but they're collections, so different types. A lot of them, the majority are corn, beans, and squash. But we also have a lot of chilies, and we also have non-food crops. We have cotton, we have devil's claw, we have a couple of agaves, we have a loofah. So we have a great variety of different seeds. And I think one interesting thing that you mentioned is the relationship between the grower, the person, and their seed. We have all this agrobiodiversity, that's what it's called, so the biodiversity of agriculture within these seeds, because they represent the relationship between one farmer, one grower, and their little microclimate, their little garden, and that seed, and the caretaking that they did over generations, and in some cases over thousands of years or over hundreds of years. So that seed has adapted to all these different microclimates here in the Southwest and in the north of Mexico, in this desert region. So that relationship is really important. That's why our seeds, these seeds are really, they're really unique. They're adapted to thrive in the hot sun and with less water. And they're, as a result, more resilient. So an interesting thing, for example, with the tepary beans, that new gardeners will overwater them. And you've got to tell people, no, the teparies don't want that much water.
Well, and I love that you guys you're there selling the seeds and some small plants as well,
Mm-hmm.
and then educating on how to take care of it. So if we do have questions, there's somewhere we can go and ask for help and understand how to care for it, and if it didn't survive, why. And I will say I probably overwatered everything when I first started gardening. It looked great, but it was because of the stuff that I had. It wasn't all local. It was a big variety. And then I started realizing later that it was not doing as well as I thought it was with all this overwatering. But it's really cool to have such a variety. And I'm going to say I was shocked at the variety. When I went and I started looking through all these different seeds, there's a website, so you can go and look through the website. There's a catalog. There's so many different ways to find out what's available. And to be able to look through there and to kind of see, okay, what is it? And, learn a little bit about how to take care of it. And is this what's going to fit for what I want? Is this going to fit? There were so many more options. And I was able to really narrow down specifics of what I thought would be fun to have in my garden. And it was a really cool experience, as opposed to wondering, is this going to survive here?
That's great. We love to hear that. We love to hear that a lot. Yeah. And a big part of what we're doing is not only promoting gardening and reconnecting with food, reconnecting with traditional food, but also then trying to get farmers to save their seeds. So to continue that tradition of the relationship between your tiny little microclimate, which might be, a pot or your backyard, and the seed, and that process of planting that seed and making observations. What happened over generations, over millennia, was the selection of seed. And that's saying, well, I really like this color. I really want my corn to be red, or I want my corn to be blue, or this particular plant thrived in this heat. So that relationship between yourself, the grower, the seed, the plant, and where you are. So trying to promote that beyond just the gardening and enjoying the food. So that's a big part. So I'm so glad to hear that you had a positive experience. We're excited about it. That's what we like to hear. We have a lot of resources about how to plant, how to grow here in the what we call the low desert and as well as the high desert. So we have information for gardeners and growers.
And can you give us the website and a good phone number for someone who wanted to reach out and maybe browse your seeds?
Absolutely. We encourage people to follow us on Instagram and Facebook, where we have a lot of information. And our website is www.nativeseeds.org. And we have a lot of information under resources where we have gardening resources. So that would be the best place to find information about seasons, what to grow, recommendations. We always provide recommendations for seeds to buy for seasons, so that new gardeners aren't feeling overwhelmed. They can always, take our cool season or warm season suggestions to get started.
Yeah, and I will say, again, I was very surprised at just the depth of information that was available. And if anyone is thinking about growing a garden, that is definitely, it's got to be your first stop to go and look at what they have. We are talking with Alexandra from Native Seed Search, and we will be back in a few minutes to hear more about some opportunities to get involved and to hear some more opportunities where you can go and purchase plants or seeds and a little bit more just about what they've got coming up. We are back with Alexandra Zamesnik from Native Seed Search, and we talked a little bit in the first segment just about the opportunities that they have for over 1,800 varieties of seeds that are available and the seed conservation efforts, and that they're trying to connect the seeds that oftentimes have been here for many generations and connecting those back to people that are here now that are planting, but also preserving them so that they're here for future generations. And so it's a really cool just opportunity in general to get involved and to get some native seeds and things that are going to grow here. And so the opportunity is unique, and you're more likely to have a successful experience by growing something that can survive here. So it's a really cool opportunity just on that level. But we're going to talk a little bit more about some community involvement and some seed sharing. Can you talk a little bit about what that is and kind of how Native Seeds is in the community and supporting the community?
Sure. And one thing I want to mention, Danielle, is the why the organization was started. The Food and Agricultural Organization has a statistic that 100 years ago, there was 75% more diversity. So what that meant is that farmers, when they were choosing what tomato or what corn, it was tremendously more diverse. There was 300 different available types of tomatoes. And then 100 years later, there was about 12 that were available. That meant that diversity was with seed, with different seed savers. And also as not just the United States, but other, the way that kind of the farming changed and people moved away from agriculture and farming, these seeds started to be lost. So that's a big part of what we do is not only conserve the seeds, is we also promote their conservation in the community. So a big part of what we're doing is trying to get these seeds out into community as much as possible. We have different programs that are seed share programs. They are available to indigenous folks that are connected to the seeds or that are living in the Southwest that have cultural and historical ties. That's called the Native American Seed Request Program. And then we have our Community Seed Grant Program, which is open to community gardens, schools, community organizations that are using gardening as a form of well-being. So there's a ton of schools across Tucson that use our seeds and incorporate them into their curriculum with kids. from how to plant the seed and observations, and then how to make food, for example. So it's so fun to hear those stories, see the pictures, go visit these community organizations. So we work with about 150 a year, different types of organizations, schools, boys and girls clubs, community gardens, cultural centers, where they get to benefit from these seeds and learn about desert adapted and heirloom seeds. So that's really exciting. And then we also work with tribes and provide seeds to tribes or tribally affiliated farms and organizations on supporting their efforts in food security. So making sure there's access to fresh local food, and also seeds that they're connected to through, that they have relationships with, that are part of their communities. So that's a little bit of how we work with our community.
I really love, just the whole idea, but the community gardens aspect, the keeping people connected to seeds that they have the cultural and historical ties to, and I also like the aspect of just showing my kids, like, look at some of these unique things that we don't see in the grocery store. Yeah. And when we're flipping through and we start seeing pink corn, the kids are like, what is this? Can we grow it? Yes. And, it's a really cool experience, and it's really cool to talk about that variety, and we don't see it anymore. And so it's a really unique opportunity. And the more that is shared, I feel like there is a lot of power in that. And so that's a really cool experience for anyone who gets to be involved in that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. One of our favorites is, it's a Tahana Atam watermelon. It's a yellow watermelon. I'm not going to pronounce it correctly, but it's Swam melon. And it's this beautiful yellow watermelon that's absolutely delicious. And it's wonderful. So we're very happy when we're able to grow watermelons, because we save those seeds by eating the watermelon. So we eat watermelon for months.
I could do that job. So let me ask you, how can someone get involved? We sort of talked about if you want to buy seeds, and that there are plant sales, there are opportunities to purchase things, and that does help to support. But what are some other ways that someone could get involved and to support what you're doing, or maybe be involved in a more personal way?
Yes, we have volunteer opportunities. So we've got opportunities to work in the garden with our garden staff. So planting, harvesting, working on basins, water catchment basins. So anything that we need in the garden, those opportunities are Tuesdays and Thursdays. And on our website, we've got a little portal of how to sign up to be a volunteer. We have a great group of volunteers in the winter, and we call them our real diehards in the summer, who stay with us and volunteer and go really early. And then we've got a dedicated group of volunteers that's in our seed lab, and they do a lot of packing seeds and processing seeds, so cleaning seeds when it comes in from the garden and after it's dried. So that's a really nice, meditative, relaxing, quiet work. And that opportunity is there for folks to come in regularly or to come in as part of a group. So if an organization wanted to have a volunteer day, they could always sign up to do that, both work in the garden or in our seed lab. We have opportunities to become members, organizational members. In that we always encourage that. We rely on fundraising and revenue from retail, from our online store, from plant sales, and also from foundations and grants. So membership is a great way to be connected and find out what's going on, get updates, and then also get discounts from our store. So we encourage people to become members, as well as donors and supporters.
So for volunteering, is there a minimum age requirement, or can teenagers volunteer? Can a family come together?
A family can come together because we've gone back and forth on this. We've had school groups. So generally when we have kids under 18, it's through a school group or someone that might come with their parent. We don't encourage it because the garden, there are safety concerns in the garden. And the seed lab is not always child friendly.
But a family could come together even with some
Yeah.
younger kids.
Yeah. And a family might enjoy a tour also. That's a nice way to visit.
Oh, you didn't mention the tours yet.
Yeah, so tours, we offer tours for members. So it's a nice pitch to become a member, but also during events. So the Pueblos de Maíz event is coming to Tucson, which is a celebration of corn. So we always offer tours for that event. And our 40th anniversary celebration is coming up on April 6th, and we'll be offering tours then as well. So to check out the garden, our seed lab, and our seed bank. During the plant sale, we have a plant sale coming up on March 2nd. That's a nice time just to take a look at the garden. We don't offer official tours then, but it's a nice time to check out the gardens.
Well, and the timing on that plant sale on March 2nd was 9 to 1. Is that correct?
Yes, that's right. Thank you,
And,
Danielle.
you know, I've gone to previous plant sales, and I think it's really cool being able to go and shop for plants. I like plants. So being able to go and look, it's a lot of fun. And to see some of the variety, again, there is a lot of variety of what's available. And if something's not out, you can ask about it. And if they don't have a plant, then there are seeds that can be purchased. And I was sharing when we were off the radio that I went in to buy seeds for something completely out of season. And I knew that they were out of season, but I still needed them. And when I asked for them, I was told, yes, we have them, but they are out of season. This is the best time to plant them. And just that knowledge, even though it's not in the right season, to be able to just mention that and to make sure that the consumers know this is your best shot at success, I think it's just a really cool thing that you don't always get other places. Can you give us the website again and a phone number if someone wanted to reach out?
Sure. The website is www.nativeseeds.org. And on the website, we've got events page if you want to just get a refresher on when those events are happening. We also have a buy seeds tab to purchase all our different seeds that are available for purchase. There's a gift shop with art and jewelry and crafts, and that supports us. It also supports regional and local craftspeople, and Sonoran Pantry, which has foods, spices, sweets, again, from the Southwest and using plants from the Southwest. So I encourage you to just explore the website, come to the plant sale, follow us, and get your hands dirty.
Well, thank you so much, Alexandra, for being on the show. And as she mentioned, I'm going to echo that. Go to the plant sale. They'll give you information about how to be a member, and you do get discounts. And so it's a good time to sign up if you haven't prior to that. The online seeds as well, there's quite a lot that's available online. And so it's a really cool opportunity. I do want to remind you, if you have someone that you think would be great for the show, a nonprofit that you'd like to see highlighted, have them reach out to me, centerstagetucson@gmail.com. You can find us on social media at Center Stage Tucson. And if you miss an episode, this is on a podcast. So whatever platform you use, if you look up Center Stage, Nonprofits of Tucson, you will find us and you can listen to prior episodes. Thank you so much. And I want to say thank you to our sponsors, Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing, and Indy Realty. If you do need anything for real estate, give me a call, Danielle, at 520-373-6864.